one of their constitutionally protected rights. So in my opinion, this whole thing is totally unconstitutional and it's being abused, but it's also totally unfair because the law enforcement officer, believe it or not, gets to bring a state attorney along with them. So law enforcement officer and a state attorney could go before the judge to argue why this order needs to be issued, while the person, that is being issued against is just sitting around having no idea what's going on. Once they actually do find out what's going on and they go to court to try and prove that they're not a danger to anybody, well, guess what? They're not allowed to bring an attorney. So the state can have an attorney, but they can't. The person who is being ordered against has no idea until after the fact. This is wrong on so many levels. Now, try and keep in mind this can happen in any state with red flag laws. All the governor would have to do is issue an executive order very similar to what Kathy Hochul did, and you would see the numbers do the exact same thing. They would grow exponentially almost immediately. And so that's why we need to make sure that this ends up in front of the Supreme Court, because people are losing due process, they're losing their rights, they don't have any right to representation. They're basically stripping everything away from an individual without their knowledge. And then after they actually have knowledge of the event, then they can try and fight to get these things back. But one thing you want to keep in mind is that in a lot of cases, people never get their stuff back. And when they do get their stuff back, it might be years later. A lot of these laws have some type of regulation or stipulation in them that say that the state can hang on to this stuff for an extreme amount of time, a long period of time. So this is just another great example of why you should always let an attorney speak for you, and don't speak for yourself. You have a right to remain silent, because sometimes, even though you think it's perfectly fine, the things you're saying are good to go, they're on the level, no problem whatsoever, you never know if one of those words or keywords or something is used that could set off some type of alarm. And you don't want to give that up. So best thing to do is just stay quiet if possible, and wait for a time where you can get an attorney, or just say, look, I'm not going to say anything without an attorney present. So like California, again, this is another thing coming out of the state of New York that I wanted to make you aware of. I also want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. Have a great day.
Nobody likes floppy things. We the people holsters have created a hard, sturdy build. Terms of telling everyone not to deny election results. Because of course, after November 8th, we are going to see the Republicans had won in a massive red wave. At least that's the latest projections. Daily Mail, citing Real Clear Politics, is now saying the Republicans will win even New Hampshire. Decision Desk is saying Oz is likely going to win in Pennsylvania, giving Republicans 54 seats in the Senate. So, of course, with such a tremendous and crushing defeat, it's very important that Joe Biden come out and brace Democrats not to deny the election. Warn them now. Hey, it's very dangerous, right? Then, of course, when they lose, he can say, you remember what I said? We all agreed, right? Here's the reality. Joe Biden is likely going to come out and say, we face the apocalypse. Election-denying Republicans must be stopped. Oh, they're so dangerous. Sure. Right now, we're being warned of diesel shortages, which in turn will mean food and gasoline shortages. We're being told inflation is through the roof. We're being told that we are facing an economic crisis. And now, the Fed has just raised interest rates. And what do we get? Hillary Clinton coming out once again with utter nonsense. You've got insane conspiracy theories from the left, and you've got the unhinged of the Democratic Party saying, in reality, Republicans are actually going to lose. My favorite, from one liberal podcaster saying, Democrats are going to come out in force, and it's going to leave the news scratching their head. How did this happen? Now, of course, based on the data we're seeing showing even better mental news, I gotta say, most of us believe it's going to be a red wave for a variety of reasons. Even in New York, we saw this the other day, Zeldin is taking the lead over Hochul. This is New York. It's a Democrat state. Now, I know upstate New York does get fairly red. But even in New York, we're seeing polls shift to what New York City did, which is absolutely surprising. Despite all of that, I must warn you, or I should say, even with all of that showing promising outcomes, do not count all of your chickens before they hatch. I strongly advise everyone to go out and vote now. Tell your friends, get your friends and family together, and go vote. Early voting is happening right now. And just because the media is coming out saying you got it in the bag does not mean it's true. In fact, I'd argue potentially means the opposite. They want to lull you into a false sense of security. And sure enough, I would not be surprised if after November 8th we're getting a bunch of news reports that the Democrats actually did better than we expected. And they're winning. I wouldn't be surprised by it. I'm not saying I think it's probable, but I'd be like, well, there you go. How many people right now see this news say, we won, I don't need to go vote? That's a mistake. Fetterman decided to debate Dr. Oz, show off the world that he was incapable of doing the job, I suppose. Now we are seeing regular Americans. They're looking for four issues: crime, inflation, gas prices. What do they get? Abortion? Seriously? That's what they're campaigning on in Florida and New York. Sure, I guess a lot of people are concerned about it, but most people, even with it, they're looking at gas prices. They can't get their kids to school.
How are you supposed to even get to do the procedure if you can't afford the gas? Or if there isn't gas?
Less than a week away. So let's read the news, and I will give you some hope.
Worried about the wrong thing.
Show you that
once again,
as time goes on, it's starting to look more and more
just
like
go
it's
to the
not
state
just
where it's
going to
legal.
be a red wave, not just a red tsunami, but a red rain flood. As I said before, Democrats, you best be building your ark now if you expect to survive this war. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com, become a member to support our work directly. Click the Join Us button and you'll get access to exclusive, uncensored, members-only shows from Timcast IRL, as well as the Cast Castle blog and Tales from the Internet World, and you will be directly funding all of our journalists. The most important thing. With your support at timcast.com, we keep our journalists gainfully employed, and we even have field reporters who are doing a lot of awesome stuff. The company is growing, so don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with friends, and pick up at the timcast.com store. Stand your ground. This is our new shirt. It's a rooster, he's yelling, and he says stand your ground. Why? Because the noble rooster would sacrifice his life, if even to buy his hens only a few seconds to run from a predator. When a predator approaches, the rooster will charge full speed, knowing he's not going to survive, but allows the hens to escape. Stand your ground. Be like the noble rooster. Pick up your shirt, flag, sweaters today over at timcast.com. Here's the story, Daily Mail. Democrats brace for disaster. With 6 days until the midterms, poll projection shows Republicans taking 4 seats in the Senate and gaining 31 seats in the House. Yo! Wow, man. This close? Yeah, this is a popular. Because the GOP had for months been forecasted to take back the House. Democrats saw hope in enough Senate races to avoid a foregone conclusion of defeat. This Wednesday, however, it appears to have changed. Now, I want to point out, the past week or a few weeks, the projections showed Republicans getting only 53 seats. They thought Democrats would win New Hampshire. Now, based on the incoming data, nope. New Hampshire joins the ranks of a Republican gain, giving them 54 seats. Rising crime and concerns about the state of the economy, including inflation, appear to have won out as the top issue for likely voters. And may I remind you, with less than a week to the election, we're getting reports of diesel shortages. One distributor said East Coast cities may run dry for a few days. So brace for that. We're also now hearing that the Federal Reserve is hiking interest rates again as inflation rages on.
Goodness,
It could not be worse. It's a
yeah, just dump my stock again.
And I must add, a little bit of
Go,
sweetness.
go sleep,
White House
Evelyn.
brags about Social Security check increase.
All right, well you can sleep so it can heal. Let me see it.
The White House tweeted, Social Security is going to be jumping up thanks to Joe Biden.
Oh,
and
it's
then Twitter
fine.
slapped
You'll
a
be
fact
okay.
check saying, actually, it's because of Nixon, and it's because inflation is really bad. So they deleted the tweet. Talk about Congress. Daily Mail says polls have projected a discontent among Americans with how Democrats have handled the vote. Though neither party has seemed to net a decisive majority on public trust to stop rising crime and fix the economy, the vast majority of surveys show voters favor the GOP to oversee them. And if only because Democrats are currently in charge. And so people are saying, you know what, I will take these. Republicans are now projected to pick up 4 seats in the Senate, according to Real Clear Politics, for a total of 54 GOP lawmakers to 46 Democrats, including 2 independents that caucus on the left. So let's be real. If you want to get technical, it's only 44 Democrats. The poll aggregator's latest analysis shows Republicans flipping Senate seats in Nevada, New Hampshire, Georgia, and Arizona. All 4 states have Democratic incumbents being challenged by GOP candidates aligned with Trump. Democrats are not forecasted to pick up any seats, according to the analysis. Pennsylvania, Democrats were hoping to take over retiring GOP Senator Pat Toomey saw times turn recently against progressive populist John Fetterman and in favor of Trump-backed celebrity physician Dr. Emmett Oz. Fetterman, the state's lieutenant governor, had enjoyed a comfortable lead in the polls for months before his one and only debate against Oz last week showed the Democrat was still struggling with auditory processing and some speech issues caused by the stroke he suffered in May.
Dude needs to take a break. You had a stroke. It hasn't even been a year. You have not recovered. But that's how sick the Democrats are about holding power.
That too seemed to fade. Republican J.D. Vance
they'd rather hold power over doing the job
on
right.
the House side, Republicans are forecasted to win 248 races compared to 174 predicted Democratic victories. That means that even if the left wins all 33 toss-up races, they would still fall short of the 218 threshold needed for a ruling majority in Congress's lower chamber. I would like to let you all know these projections are based on the polls. But the polls were wrong in 2016, 2018, and in 2020. Why would the polls be correct today? Well, some argue the pollsters have updated based on their errors in 2016, 18, and 2020. But I'm going to go ahead and say I'm not buying it. You know why? Well, they got it wrong in 2016. You'd think they'd have fixed it then. They claimed to have, but in 2018, sure enough, they were wrong again. Still, Democrats did pick up some seats. They took the majority. They said, well, we were wrong about that, but we're going to be right again in 2020. And lo, they were wrong again. So come to me and tell me you think they're changing their polls and fixing their research. They ain't doing it. So if they're saying this, I'd be willing to bet it's worse than that. According to the Real Clear Politics projection, there are 13 lean Democrat seats. 33 are toss-up territory. How much do you want to bet? They go Republican. Why? 2020. The whole projection map was skewed. Look at like 530 and these other outlets. They were all wrong. The New York Times, I think it was, said that all of these, here are the districts that are lean Democrat. The lean Democrat seats turned out to be Republican. And there were even several safe Democrat seats, like in Miami and in South Texas, that turned Republican. So, let me say, first and foremost, to be very careful. Amen. Democrats could win. Absolutely. They're coming out with all these projections, making you feel all good, warm, and ghosty inside, and then sure enough, on election day, they say, we can't count the votes. Mail-in votes are still coming in. And sure enough, Democrats win. But I will say, based on what we've seen so far, there's a strong possibility, I don't know, that even some of these safe Democrat seats Ron DeSantis might actually win Dade County. This is an urban stronghold. This is Democrat. Bridget Fetisi, of the Joe Rogan podcast, has one of her family members, a staunch Democrat, Ron DeSantis. But that says a lot. So we will see. Here's what I must say to all of you. If this is true, now more than ever, do you need to go outside and go, charge, and then calmly walk up to the polling station, fill out your ballot with a smile on your face? If it is true that it's looking like the Republicans might win the majority, what you really need to see happen is a supermajority. Now's your chance. I'm not saying the Republican Party is good. I'm not a fan, to be honest. But there are so many MAGA Republicans, populists, who are running, that if they get in, and they do win, you will actually see them get some commanding control in Congress. We may see subpoenas and inquiries. Right now, you've got these people begging for COVID amnesty. A simple majority in the Republican Party in Congress may be good. Maybe. A super majority, or even a veto majority. Now that is tremendous. Now, as it pertains to Democrats in the Senate, I don't know how. I don't think it's actually possible for them to veto the majority. I could be wrong. I think it's like 66 seats. Meaning Republicans are going to pick up like 12 more seats, which I don't think is even possible to even be honest. It's like this. It'd be really incredible if Republicans were able to pick up 6 more seats. Now that would be an insane proposition. So, I don't know. Let me tell you something. New York is really interesting. New York is Democrat. I don't know how many seats they got. They say right here. I don't know. New York appears to be Republican. They're not every state is actually going to be up for re-election representative. If they're saying that Zeldin is actually up in it's actually up in New York. We're talking about a statewide vote. Wants to stop a Republican senator from winning in New York. Stress this thing out. If the governor projection right now, take a look at this. This congressional vote, let me pull up the governor projection here, real in politics. They're saying right now they think New York is going to lose. But we do have some data. Let me show you here. Robert C. Cahill says new Trafalgar Group New York poll is turning out to be one to watch, with Zeldin holding a razor-thin lead based on the high. I'm not so confident Zeldin can beat him. I don't know. We'll see. You gotta have faith. You gotta have confidence, right? If in New York, the Republican has taken a razor-thin lead over the poll, I'm telling you guys, if you live in New York, get out and vote. What if Republican wins the governorship? Republican wins. I know it sounds like a long shot. In the governor's race, they're saying Republicans are going to be five states. That's tremendous. What if in New York, you all go out and vote, get your friends together, and you actually cause a massive shift? That would be absolutely tremendous. I'd love to see it. We want to mention 6 days into the midterms, the Daily Mail says poll was taken between October 26th and 31st. This is a poll showing 51% of likely voters would be a Republican on a generic congressional ballot. 47% chose Democrats. In September, 50% of people said they'd vote Democrat. 47% siding with the GOP. So here we have 538 generic ballot showing Republicans up 1.4 points. Apocalyptically bad for Democrats. I know it's wishful thinking. Over at Real Clear Politics, you've got the 3-point advantage for Republicans. I know it's wishful thinking, but seriously, guys, New York is the place to be. If you are in New York right now, do not be convinced. The news is telling you Republicans are going to win. This is your chance. Don't make it a simple victory. Make it an overwhelming, crushing defeat for Democrats. Make them regret every psychotic policy they've ever pushed. Force them back into reality. With such a mind-bending defeat, they say, where did we go wrong? And the party implodes on itself. Win in New York. That is, you're in New York. Talk to your neighbors, all your friends, all your family, and ask them if they're voting. Make sure they go out. That's what you can do. You have an opportunity right now. Polls are saying there is a chance. Think about how insane it would be if New York goes Republican. New Mexico, Colorado, Minnesota. Or like in Minnesota, I don't know, but I'll tell you guys. We're looking at in Minnesota for governor 24-3 up for Democrats. Let's do the Senate prediction. Maybe we need the Senate message. We have Minnesota here. No, Minnesota doesn't have any Senate seats. That makes sense. And I don't. They're showing New York is up, but I don't see them actually in the polls right now in New York. Maybe there's just no real good Republican chance I see. Oregon. Now here's what's interesting. They're saying Oregon in the governor's projections might actually go Republican. They're projecting it. In Oregon, what do we got here? They don't have the polling data out here. They're showing Oregon going Republican. Why not the Senate? Look at this. Decision Desk HQ. This is fascinating. They are saying Dr. Oz has a 53.9% chance of winning the election. Fetterman's 46.1. Amazing. Here we go. White House. Wondering why it's happening. Bumbling White House accidentally loaded. Newsweek reports White House tweeting on Social Security check increases getting some grief and a label from Twitter. During a campaign stop Tuesday in Florida to denounce Republicans' economic intentions, President Joe Biden discussed Social Security and inflation in a gap-filled speech. And on my watch, for the first time in 10 years, seniors are getting an increase in their Social Security checks, Biden said. So checks are going to be up, Medicare payments are going to be down. The official White House account tweeted seniors are getting the biggest increase in their Social Security checks in 10 years. Twitter then added context, adding information that people might want to know. The label reads that people will receive a large Social Security benefit increase due to the annual cost of living adjustment, which is based on the inflation rate. It also references how in 1972, Nixon signed into law automatic benefit adjustments. Joe Biden's administration just accidentally told everyone that inflation is so bad, leading to a massive spike in Social Security. Whoops. So what did they do? Yo, they straight deleted the tweet. That's how bad it is. From our good friend Defiant Elves, USA Today, on January 20th, 2020. President Joe Biden said Wednesday the 2022 midterm elections could easily be illegitimate if Congress does not pass voting rights legislation. And then, 10 months later, Biden will address the threat of election deniers in a speech at 7 p.m. Wednesday from Washington's Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The pre-election deniers are at it again. Now, I don't know.
They're the only ones that deny it. Yeah.
Vote is right. Get out and vote.
Or they in 2016, their first one. For
Biden is expected to
we
echo
could
past
deny
warnings
it.
he has made about the threat
We
posed by
could deny it
Republicans
winning.
who continue to spread false information about the validity of the 2020 election. Now, I can't tell you. It's very frustrating to hear bad information. There's no concern. Time Magazine ran their shadow and many of these things were not properly integrated. But man, you know, it really is frustrating to hear people say they're examples. People claiming that Trump would be inaugurated on March 3rd election day, or that he was secretly the president. None of that turned out to be real. And sure enough, they completely nonsense. So why then is Joe Biden coming out and then speaking nonsense himself? Why is he not calling out, I don't know, Hillary Clinton and every Democrat who denied the
Yeah.
On NBC, President Joe Biden is set to deliver remarks Wednesday night on the importance of protecting democracy and the threat posed by election deniers as part of his final pitch to voters heading into midterms next week. In the remarks, Biden is expected to echo past warnings he has made about the threat posed by those who spread false information about the validity of the 2020 election. Okay, this is actually great, sure. So after the Republicans win, here's what I expect. We can all take these clips of Joe Biden saying, these election deniers are bad, and then we'll just post them in reply to people denying the results of the midterms. How about that? President Biden has been speaking about democracy for the entire time he's been in office. We are not a democracy. We've never been a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. Get it right.
Exactly.
Remarks will take place at 7 p.m. at Union Station.
But,
Blah, blah,
you know,
blah.
y'all just believe whatever the POTUS says.
And why will he be making the speech on Capitol Hill? Because on January 6th, we saw violence geared towards subverting the democratic processes.